Reds are off today. That's kind of big because it's another day of rest for juniors. Hamstring, time to heal Barry Larkin's strained oblique muscle, and it also means they don't lose their 9th straight game. And Adam Dunn, for one, hopes the rest is going to help snap that streak against the Astros this weekend.
Hopefully for a lot of guys, it's, get out and, do whatever you do, to relax. And I think a lot of people are going out and, spending time with their family or going fishing or something that takes your mind away from baseball and come back Friday and hopefully stop this thing that we're in.
The Reds are buyers at the deadline. Yeah, they have signed outfielder Darren Bragg to a minor league deal. The 34-year-old has played for Seattle, Boston, St. Louis, Colorado, both New York teams, Atlanta. And that's not all. They bought the contract of right-handed pitcher Jeremy Sugarman from the North Shore Spirit of the Northeast League. But they're selling too. The Reds have just traded reliever Todd Jones and minor league outfielder Brad Carell to Philadelphia for righty Josh Hancock and minor league shortstop Anderson Machado. Hancock going to join the Reds for tomorrow's game. Reds do open a 3-game set with the Astros tonight. Rain delays the start 41 minutes. Bottom 2, Adam Dunn. Taking the first pitch from Pete Monroe, deep for his 29th on the season, opposite way, 1-0. Stays that way till the top of 4. Carlos Beltran. Taking Aaron Harang shopping at the gap. Double off the base of the wall. That will score Adam Everett. We are all tied up at 1. Astros threatened to take the lead. Jeff Kent, Felipe Lopez goes home. Beltran is neat. Bottom 5, Lopez doing it with a little stick. How about a big stick? Straightaway center, and that will cause grass stains. First on the season, 2-1, top 6, bases full. No, not full, but full of rain. Jeff Bagwell to center. Everett will round third and head home. 2-all. The rains were relentless from there. The game is suspended. They're going to resume Saturday at 11:30. 2 Astros on, 2 out. Ticket stubs will be honored for a future game, but not tomorrow's. You need a new ticket tomorrow. They'll start the second one. Regularly scheduled at 1:15. Brandon Clausen taken to the mound for his 3rd start. He didn't make it out of the 4th in his last outing Sunday in Pittsburgh. The Astros scheduled starter lefty Andy Pettitte, who is pitching despite a partially torn tendon in his elbow. First delivery 125 or thereabouts. Highlights at 6 o'clock.
Hello everybody and welcome to the show.
I'm Dan Horde alongside the man called Horty, remembering this date 1 year ago when we sat here trying to find our way through the smoke produced by the Great American Fire Sale.
Well, this year the July 31st trading deadline hardly created a spark in the Reds organization. They made one trade, one deal, and that was late last night. They sent relief pitcher Todd Jones to the Phillies for right-handed pitcher Josh Hancock, a minor league shortstop Anderson Machado. Reds also gave up minor leaguer Brad Carell. Now, Hancock spent most of the season with Triple-A Scranton Wilkes-Barre, where he was 8-7 with a 4.01 ERA. Machado has a .230 batting average after 7 years in the minors, but he has been rated as one of the top prospects in the Phillies organization. Jones, you probably know, was 8-2 with the Reds. His ERA was 3.79.
If I'm here to fill shoes, Todd Jones is pretty big shoes to fill. I'm here to pitch. I'm here to create an opportunity for myself, see what can happen, work for next year, things like that.
Hancock arrived at the ballpark today in time for the resumption of last night's rain-delayed game against the Astros, which was suspended in the 6th inning. It's a good thing he did. He was one of 7 pitchers the Reds used before the game was over. Let's take you back to last night. After the start was delayed by 41 minutes, the Reds jumped out to a 1-0 lead when Adam Dunn played souvenir sender, depositing his 29th homer of the year into the seats in left. Shortly after that, time for rain delay number 2. This one lasted 27 minutes. That's an hour and 8 minutes total. When they resumed play, the umps appeared determined to finish the game. Check out Dunn in left as he battles a friggin' monsoon just to see the ball. He caught it to strand 2 base runners in the 4th. After the Astros tied it at 1, the Reds pulled back in front on another solo homer. A blast out onto the grassy knoll by Felipe Lopez, his first home run of the year. But Aaron Harang couldn't hold on to the 2-1 lead, giving up a 2-out RBI single to Jeff Bagwell in the 6th that tied it at 2. At that point, the ump said enough already, suspending the game for another 13.5 hours. They resumed at 11:30 this morning, but the game went to extra innings. There was another delay in the 11th. The 4 delays added up to 15 hours and 47 minutes. That gave Josh Hancock time to get a uniform, meet a few teammates, and pitch the 13th inning. He allowed a couple of walks, but worked out of the jam with no damage done. In the bottom of the 13th, Willie Mopena drew his 14th walk all season and then got to run as Jason LaRue drilled one up the gap in left center. There was no doubt Willie Mo would try to score, and he cruised home with a game-winning run. Josh Hancock gets his first big league win, and the Reds end an 8-game losing streak, beating Houston 3-2 in 13.
As soon as I walked up, he introduced himself, I introduced myself, and other than that, you know, before then, you know, I called down to the bullpen, just asked what pitches that he had and what he threw and everything, so I could be, I guess, somewhat prepared.
And get here just as the first game started and just meeting the guys as I can. You know, I met LaRue on the mound right before I threw, and it's just it's exciting.
Well, then they took a little break in, teed it up again. It wasn't exactly like a leisurely ride down the river, no sir. Andy Pettitte was supposed to start for the Astros, but he was scratched because of continuing elbow problems. Instead, the Reds get Darren Oliver, and the lefty was lights out. It's called third on Ryan Friel. He pitched 5 innings with shutout ball, allowing 1 hit. His counterpart, Brandon Clausen, fared just about as well. Bases loaded in the 4th, gets a call third on Morgan Ensberg. And then next hitter, Mike Lamb. Does a number on Mike Lamb, too. He pops him up. Now watch this, though. Jimenez calls for it. Friel ends up making a shaky catch, and then airmails it over Jose Valentin. Run scores 1-0 Astros. Clausen worked 5 1/3, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. Reds were down 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th, but the threat dies when 3 straight hitters, Jimenez, Valentin, and Barry Larkin, hit short fly balls. Reliever Mike Gallo, as you see, was pretty juiced. Get it? Gallo? Got right ugly in the 9th. 2 on for Carlos Beltran. Gabe White on the hill. Big old see ya. He also gave up a 2-run shot to Lamb. Gabe gave up 6 runs in an inning in the 3rd. Reds lose 8-zip. They were held to 4 hits.
I made some good pitches. I think the 3, 4, and 5 hole guys, I think I threw a whole baseball game just to them. And they were battling. And going out there and just trying to keep the ball in play, and that's really all you can do.
Yeah, he threw the ball very well. Unfortunately, the 7th inning was a big inning for us. We didn't, we had bases loaded, nobody out, and didn't get any runs across. But he did everything, in his power to give us a chance to win.
Clausen got pulled with 1 out in the 5th and had already thrown 118 pitches. The current 6-game homestand concludes tomorrow afternoon. The Reds will send their best starter to the mound. Yes, Paul Wilson still here, and will take a 9-2 record to the mound. His last 3 starts have ended with no decisions. Roy Oswalt goes for the Stros. He's 10-8 this year, but get this, he's 8-0 in 12 career games against the Reds.
Speaking of moving, it's August 1st, and Paul Wilson is still here. Yeah, he didn't get traded, at least not yet. How important is he to the staff? Well, Wilson's 9 victories are a team high. His 11 quality starts, another team high. And maybe most importantly, he's 6-1 in 13 starts following a Reds loss. Could he turn around his team's fortunes today and finally reach double-digit victories? Well, Toucan Sam follows his nose to GABP. Bottom 1, Reds look to seize the lead. Adam Dunn singles off Roy Oswalt. Lance Berkman fields cleanly, throws home. Sean Casey, his meat stays scoreless. Top 2, Astros get to Wilson. Morgan Ensberg singles to right. Lance Berkman scores from second. It's 1-0. Next batter, Raul Chavez. Reach out and touch someone. Jeff Kent, come on in. It's 2-zip. Now, bottom 3, the Reds get on the board. Ryan Friel singles the left. Craig Biggio with problems overruns the play. Felipe Lopez takes note and sprints on in. It's now 2-1. The Reds explode in the 4th. 2nd and 3rd for Willie Mopena. Ripped to right, and that's in the gap. Snaps an 0-for-17 skid. Sean Casey come on in. Adam Dunn follows. The Reds are up 3-2. Next batter, Jacob Cruz. Oh, this one's not coming back. His 3rd this year. Reds build a 5-2 lead, which is immediately trimmed the next inning. Mike Lamb bloops one to left. Adam Everett scampers in. Wilson, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, leaves with the lead. But then it's blown by John Riedling. Now 5-4. Riedling feels he's getting squeezed by home plate umpire Andy Fletcher. Walks Jeff Bagwell, and after a single, walks Craig Biggio. That ties the game at 5 apiece. Riedling has a few choice words walking off. and he gets tossed. Enter Todd Van Poppel. His first pitch, bunted by Everett. The squeeze, plates bags. Astros go up 6-5. Phil Norton in to pitch the ninth, and since the All-Star break, hadn't given up a run in 9 innings until now. Ensberg double, short hops the wall in center. Willie Moe's quick throw to Felipe Lopez on target, but the relay home to Jason LaRue is high. Kent scores. It's 7-5. Bottom 9, D'Angelo Jimenez. He's the winning run at the plate, but he grounds into the 4-6-3 double play, and there your final is 7-5.
There's no room in this game for finger pointing, and it's not my fault type of attitude. It's, we take responsibility. I take responsibility for what goes on out there, and, everybody else should too.
He's been doing that, all year. I don't know how many games that he's left when we're leading, and he comes away with nothing, and it's nothing that he did. I mean, he pitched great as usual.
Paul's Paul. He goes out there and gives you everything that he has, and obviously made a big pitch in the 7th to get out of it right at 120, and that's basically he did his job. That's all he can do, and it's our job to hold on to it for him.
August isn't off to a good start for the Reds. Here's the breakdown month by month. So promising with an 18-11 record in May to follow up a solid April. But since then, the June swoon, 12-14. Then 9-18 in July. That's the Reds' highest loss total during that month since 1989 when they went 7-19. The Reds lost 12 games in the NL Central standings to the Cardinals. Now, time for you to make the call. Are you satisfied with the Reds' moves made by the trade deadline? That lone trade was Todd Jones to the Phillies. Pick up your phone right now. Call 345-1212. We want your vote, and we'll have your results a little later in the show. We will be talking deals with our Who Asked You gang. So let's throw it over to Marshall Harris, who's at the interview set. Marshall?
Welcome to Who Asked You, joined by Reds beat writer from the Cincinnati Post, is Mark Lancaster, of course, 1360, the homer. It's Richard Skinner. Both these guys have opinions, and opinions needed after a weekend like this for the Reds. Look like they could take 2 of 3, but they come up just short. It's a story we've seen before. Paul Wilson goes out, throws 121 pitches, gives it his all, but only to see the bullpen blow his lead. 6 blown save he's had. That's the highest on the team. And is it bad luck? Is it bad bullpen, or is it just a combination?
A combination, but he should be 15-2. There's no question. I mean, those are 6 legitimate blown saves, and today you can trace right back to the Todd Jones trade, because who should pitch the 8th inning? Todd Jones. Instead, it's John Riedling. He blows up, hence they lose the ball game. And I think this is going to be what we're going to see the last couple months of the season.
It's going to be very difficult, because Riedling's a guy who has the stuff, but he's never quite been able to string it together consistently. He's been on a really bad run his last 30 or so appearances, a 6.81 ERA, and there's not a whole lot behind him. You can maybe throw Wagner in there, but he's had consistency problems. Gabe White, same thing. It's going to be a tough stretch for a while, I think.
I think it's especially tough and frustrating for these guys, because they had a chance to take the series and, stop a little losing skid that they've had. They fall, and it's really, ironic, because Paul Wilson, some people didn't think he would even be here today.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, and maybe he shouldn't have been here today. It's strange. I've never heard of this situation where a general manager says we're not even going to talk contract till the end of the season, and he says it's a distraction. How's it distracting if he's talking to the agent? The player doesn't have to know, and if he does, it's the agent telling him. The player's not going in the general manager's office and doing it unless Dan O'Brien lives in the dark ages, which I think he does anyway. Maybe that's how he thinks. Players come in and talk to him.
Well, Dan O'Brien said to me the other day that he's had agents tell him that they think he's doing the right thing. So it's one of those things that's not going to change. And I think that Dave Miley accepted that a couple months ago, and everybody stopped sort of talking about his extension. And it's going to be the same thing with the players. It's just going to be how it is.
Yeah, so. Mark, that's a great thing when a GM's listening to what agents say. That's
we got to have communication across the board for everybody. And you look at the one trade that the Reds were able to make. They get Todd Jones over to Philly, and they get 3 players back. One of them a shortstop, surprise, surprise. Maybe they're looking to fill that role.
Well, I think they're looking for yet another light-hitting shortstop at the minor league level who is going to be the heir apparent to Barry Larkin, yet can't hit enough to be the heir apparent to Barry Larkin. He'll just fit that mold. He had 195 last year in the minor leagues, and I believe in Double-A. So he's not the answer. I don't know what this was. This was just basically, I think, here, Todd Jones, go try to go to the playoffs. I like you a lot.
It's a 2-for-2 deal, but you're saying, maybe Ray Olmedo at best is how you can describe
I think he's exactly like Ray Olmedo. I mean, he's a guy from Venezuela who's kind of a little guy, 5'11", 150. He's listed at, he's a .230 career hitter in the minor leagues.
He does walk a lot. Good. It's good. He walks a lot. That's great.
And he plays very good defense. But again, it's you look at all your modern shortstops. That's not what the kind of guys you get out there anymore. Not saying that's the only way you can win, because there's no saying A-Rods to go around. but he's not the kind of guy who's even got the body that Felipe Lopez does.
I just hope Barry can play till he's 45, because that's about the best. I hope
I
for
mean,
5 more years.
that might be the best solution to the shortstop
I think
problem.
it is.
It's just to keep him out there. You look at the one trade being made. Are you surprised that more deals weren't done?
Mark probably could answer this better than I could, but my take on it is, yeah, only because, again, you should have at least known what you're going to do with Paul Wilson. Maybe this is a sign they're going to re-sign him, but they weren't going to re-sign, and they're not going to re-sign Corey Lytle. I don't care if you got a pack of bazooka and maybe some sunflower seeds for Corey Lytle. You had to get something for him instead of having him walk at the end of the year. That's just silly.
It did surprise me that they didn't move Lytle, and I think if they can get him through waivers at some point in August, that's something that might happen before August 31st. I think it's highly unlikely that he resigns here next year. And there was a lot of talk yesterday that he might go to San Diego, and I think that's something he probably would have welcomed, being a California guy and going into a race with a team that he almost signed with in the offseason in the first place. So that's the one move that wouldn't surprise me if it did happen sometime in August.
Skinny, like you pointed out, it's not too late. There's still deals that can be done through waivers. What do you see happening? Maybe Graves on the move, or who if anybody?
I can't imagine Danny Graves would clear waivers. Now, Corey Lytle, I think, probably could clear waivers. And Mark, again, I think you probably addressed that better than I could, but I think he could. I don't think Paul Wilson would clear waivers. I think somebody would block the possibility of him moving to a team that would hurt. That's where, last year it was easy to get a couple of guys through waivers because they were guys nobody really wanted. And maybe nobody really wants Corey Lytle, so you sneak him through, but I don't see anybody else they sneak through.
Well, the way Lytle's pitched lately, I mean, I think that certainly, and he's even said it.
It's a factor,
He's
right?
been disappointed, in the way he's gone out the last couple of days. He's gotten knocked around pretty good, but, that might help it. If he's running cold, maybe you throw him out there early before he gets on another hot streak, and that might help him out. The other thing is he's not making that much money in the grand scheme of things, so, you never know what would happen with that.
You talked about it earlier. O'Brien says that, in the meantime, Gabe White and John Riedling will take over for what Todd Jones is doing. Is that the answer? They have to do something to stop this.
Here's the strange part. You've gone in 1 year from Scott Sullivan being about your 6th or 7th inning guy, Reitsma being your 7th or 8th inning guy, Scott Williamson being your 8th inning guy, to now John Riedling and a retread Gabe White and maybe Phil Norton. That is a huge drop-off.
It's a huge drop, and we hope they can pick things up. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Mark Lancaster from the Cincinnati Post, and, of course, Richard Skinner. Harvey, we send it back to you.
You made the call, now the results. We asked, are you satisfied with the Reds' moves made by the trade deadline? 78% say no. Very interesting. Thanks if you phoned us tonight.